Hello, welcome to the podcast from Duendelvin. Here we have Jeff and Kyle, and today we're going to be talking about empires. Well, we back on?
We're back on.
We're back on. Well, which empire are we talking about today?
Talking about the Podelean Empire.
Oh, so what's the Podelean Empire?
Also, don't forget, if you have any questions in chat, you can always throw them up there. We will answer them live as they come in. Hi, chat.
Say hi, chat.
We don't have anybody in chat yet. Sorry. Yeah.
Well.
That was me.
It's your turn this time. It's usually me. It's usually May. Uh-oh. I was turning it down. There we go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just don't yell into it.
What?
I need to turn mine up a little bit. Okay.
Oh, look. We have a statement. Yeah.
Oh, hi, chat.
Hello.
Hi from chat. Oh, man. Why am I so loud?
Yeah.
Yep. No noises. Choose.
So, yeah. The Podelean Empire.
Podelean Empire. Heck yeah. All right. What do you want to know?
Well, let's start with the basics. What does the Podelean Empire do?
It empires.
No way.
Next question. I'm just kidding.
Podelean Empire is, they have all the different resources. The mining resources, anyway. But they're an order, so they follow Zayak, so they value order above everything else. Elected officials every 10 years. And then they value wisdom. Where was it? I had it pulled up, and then I didn't.
It's okay. This man been shoveling dirt today.
That's not an excuse. Podelean Empire is the largest landmass and the largest in population. They're known for being a place of wisdom. The empire itself prides itself as the land of the wise and welcomes the wisdom seekers as both friend to the empire and a key source of its knowledge. So there is a city down south that's ruled by Tiafa, called the City of the Wise, or Baraltheon. And the Podelean Empire claims it as like part of its land, but technically it's not.
It doesn't.
So,
Yeah, Baratheon is unique. It's like a city-state unto itself. Nobody governs it but Tiafa. They don't.
It's like Rome is to Italy.
Yep.
It would probably be the closest relationship that we have in our world. So, but yeah, so that's what they're about: wisdom and knowledge and growth.
All right.
So
they are the technological superstars of the world. Most innovations that are new are coming from the Podelean Empire, specifically Brexis is their capital. Brexis is their capital. We'll talk more in depth about the different cities later. I think that's a Thursday episode.
I don't know.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So yeah, they get to invent. There's workshops and tinker shenanigans going on all the time. So kabooms happen. Random explosions, random shenanigans. It's just their highways are unique as well. It is the only empire, the only other country that has the tram system like Garthia does. It's also the only place that has covered roadways, so you can travel safely year round. You ride the tunnel.
The tunnel.
The tunnel.
The tunnel.
So yeah, that's some more of the fun shenanigans there. Any other questions?
Well.
We have our guy in the chairs typing out a question, and
You can hold their breath through the whole tunnel. Nobody.
Nobody at all.
You'd have to just stop breathing there that long.
Which leaves the question: if you were an air mage, could you cheat the system and technically not breathe but replenish oxygen in your own system?
I don't know.
Uh,
I don't know either.
I mean,
Because how do you expel carbon monoxide or carbon dioxide? Monoxide. How do you expel waste? How do you expel breathing waste without breathing out? Huh. So if you could do that, then maybe you could cheat it. You're just like
Maybe.
Suffocate.
unsuffocate.
I mean, maybe. We haven't really talked about
That's
it.
something we haven't, because there hasn't really been a purpose or a reason or a need for it.
Just
Yeah.
little questions.
All right.
Well,
Did you cause yourself pain?
ow.
Did you cause yourself pain?
Yeah.
Ow, pain.
Well, so what are like? What are their food like if they don't have? What are they food?
What are they food?
What's trade like? What's trade like?
There we go.
There we go.
That's a good statement phrase.
Well, as the largest population and landmass and the technological marvel of the world, trade would be really easy. And they have the tram systems. Garthia has the tram systems inside of Garthia. Braxis has them leaving Braxis, so they don't have any trams inside. So getting food from the port to them and then to the nearest major cities would actually be very easy. So transportation from Wabi, and then, I mean, you'd have your animal hunting that would go on, your fishing would happen because there is a port. The port of Braxis, is probably the second biggest port in the world. So, I mean, trade is in and out is pretty easy from Braltheon. Not Braltheon.
Brexis. Yep.
Braltheon's the city otherwise.
So it's on the continent of Alakea. I kind of forgot that, I think. I don't remember we mentioned that.
Yes.
We'll have to
So if
post
you're
a-
looking at the map, so from my perspective, I don't know. Okay, so your perspective, if the map looks like this. Okay, so you have Antropa is here with Garthia at the top, and then you have. I'm gonna have to pull it up. Apologies.
That's why I had to look it up, because I was like, holy crap, it has a name. Our continents are broken up into, we have
Okay,
5 major continents.
Ian, is this view okay? Like if I'm viewing it here, so there's 4 continents, like this, right? So there's one continent down here, right? And it's Antropa, and that's where Garthia is at the top of Antropa. And then up here, Catacorn is Negend, and it looks like a half moon a little bit. And then you have right above Antropa's Prezon, and then across the sea to the east is Alakaya, and then down here in between Antropa and Alakaya is Wabi. And so that's the different places. And Alakaya is kind of like this, but it's huge. So
We'd post the picture for it. However, we'd have to make some adjustments because one of the names on there was very, very, very difficult to pronounce.
yeah. Well, and it's all like I legitimately, when I made this for the first time, when I built the world, I legitimately took these big, huge poster boards and I just drew a shape on it and then started going at it. And then I took a picture of it and put it into Paint because I didn't know how to use Photoshop at the time and I haven't gone back and done any Photoshop. Not that I'm good at Photoshop, but at least I know how to use it now. But so I put all the continents in and put them all together, and then I drew like where the mountains are and where the sea is and all that kind of stuff. So it literally looks like it's from Paint, like a 5-year-old did it.
Heck yeah.
So it's not very good.
I mean, it serves the purpose perfectly. We'll get it cleaned up that we can post it
We'll
up
get
and
it
you guys can
cleaned up.
see it.
Ian has another question.
Oh,
It would have to be the third. Both second and first were dubbed to Garthia ports.
as far as the busiest and most lucrative port,
Third
best.
Both
in the
second
world.
and first were dubbed to Garthia.
Yeah, we have the 2 port. Well, Garthia has its major hub port, and then it has its 2 other ports in the city.
Weren't the other biggest ones. 'Cause
No.
one of them was the pirate hub, and then one of them was for shipwrights.
So the Garthian port is the biggest port overall.
Right.
But then, like, it had 2 other ports in place, and so the pirate port was big for Garthia as far as that goes. Not the second largest in the world, and so if we said that, I apologize.
Yeah.
It's not.
So-
Well, if it is now. So Brexis is either the second largest port in the world or the fourth. We'll have to go back
How
and
about
do some
this?
digging.
We'll simplify.
Yeah.
The Braxis port, the port of Braxis is the largest in the world outside of Garthia.
Yeah, that works. That works beautifully.
There you go. So, Ian, you got to learn how to type a little faster.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
Okay. So we solved that. So the port of Braxis is the largest port outside of Garthia.
Yep.
Easy peasy.
Lemon squeezy. Just not in your eyeballs. That's a hurdy.
So, anything else you want to know specifically?
What about, like, does home life differ from Garthia?
Yes. But it's also going to be specific to the different regions you're living in. If you live in Brexis, you're living kind of want to talk about like a little bit like Durzan back in the day. Great, wonderful areas, but without the red cards. There's no red cards. We don't have that. That's a lost technology. It's got the mental image of soccer. We don't red card. Sorry. So you've got that, but you're looking at more of like they have tinker shops, they have inventor shops, and they have colleges. They have the College of Engineering and Mathematics is in Brexis. You also have scholars coming there in preparation to go to Borelthion. So your average daily life is going to be standard chore work and then oftentimes study. You're going in to prepare to enter the college, enter a school, take your test to Borelthion, because the pilgrimage to Borelthion is a thing that's common, but also if you fail, you die. You don't get to enter Borelthion unless you're prepared for it.
Right. Well, your question, was it specific to Braxis, or were you asking part of the Podelean Empire? Like, which one were you asking?
Just in general, like, how much would, like, the general home life differ from, like, Garthia, the Garthian, like...
I mean...
That's a hard question to answer.
Yeah, in Garthia, life is life. But you think, okay, Garthia is the capital of the world, and so most of the biggest, intense, aggressive industry is going to happen there. But you're also going to have your biggest city, your most refined metal workers and all that kind of stuff, your fanciest little city. Because we did a whole thing on Garthia.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Great
living in
episodes.
Garthia is really dependent on where in Garthia do you live. Do you live in Danhill and, you work for like the storage place? Or do you live, up north and your primary occupation is piracy? Like, it's all going to be very different.
Clarification, our pirates are not this world's pirates. They don't go out and plunder the high seas.
Right. But, your life as a warehouse worker and your life as a pirate, or your life, in the... I can't remember the name of the city, but the city where like entertainers train. Like your day-to-day life is going to be very different.
Yeah.
And so in Braxis, your day-to-day life is going to be different depending on what your craft is, right? And then depending on where in the Podelean Empire you live, it's going to be different because we have mining cities and we have a tourist city and we have, a city dedicated to games and we can cover all that at some point. We'll cover all that either this episode or the next episode.
Yeah.
So what is day-to-day life like is almost an impossible question to answer.
All right.
So except that, I would say the one universal truth for the Podeleans is that as a general, the cities choose Zayok as their god. Like independently, you don't have to as a Podelean, but the cities themselves would say that Zayok is supreme because the Podelean Empire claims Zayok as their god. Does that make sense?
Their structure of laws is seen through the lens that Zayok provides.
All right.
That's how they honor the tenants.
Well, do we have examples of these laws?
No.
Well, no.
We haven't built these laws yet.
The laws for the empires?
Yeah. Because they don't have individual laws per se either.
Right.
It would just be judged from the Zayok lens. If you perform an action and end up in the system, it's going to come at you. They're going to come at you from an order lens.
So the tenets of the faith are the law.
Yeah.
And then how you view the law is based on the covenants. And so you would say, I promote stability. So our nation is about stability. And so the way that we view our tenants, so I will not, it's an affront to the Horakai to violate the tenant's, the right of ownership, right? That will be viewed from the government from the standpoint of stability, maintaining stability, right? And so that's how they would build their determination, and it's why it's broad enough to encompass anything that could happen. Like, I mean, throw out an idea that, like, for the sake of understanding what could possibly happen that a law would need to fulfill that couldn't be covered under the tenets that are under the covenants of faith or contract law. What could not be? Like, what could you possibly do that wouldn't be covered? Can you even think of anything?
I haven't. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure we could find something that, but it'll be so minuscule. You would have things that would be more colloquial, like regional specific.
Maybe, but
Yeah.
like what?
Um.
See, and that's the thing. Nobody-
Well, it'll be like days, like work days, that kind of, like simple things, like things that are unique because that's not covered in the tenants. How long do you work in a day? What does that look like? What does that work entail? How do you treat, like, the specifics of how you treat somebody could be different from city to city, and that's just like how we had state government versus federal government in our world, and that's kind of what we're getting into. Is each city would have a state ordering to help expand or effectively entrap, if you want to look at it that way as well, certain people into certain behaviors. So that's what we could have some differences. Like if you're in the mining town, your shift doesn't end until you've worked 12 hours. That could be a standard. Like it's 12-hour
I guess
workday,
that could be.
and you can see that put into law. And then there's certain
I guess
regulation.
I don't.
Yeah, but like over like into the
Like that wouldn't even need to be necessary as law, because if I ran the mine and I said if you work 12 hours I'll pay you, then if you don't work 12 hours you don't get paid.
But if that's,
And that falls under contract law.
kind of, because if that considered, like, because like if the average wage is 5 essence, but you're working 12 hours for 5 essence, whereas another town is working 6 hours for 5 essence, it kind of
And
changes
that's the-
things. Yeah, and that's the
just what they've
local.
agreed
Yeah,
upon.
that's the local's acceptance, and that's kind of where the contract law of order is going to come, or without contract law, the order comes into play, because even if they're working 12-hour days to get the quota that they need to be able to perceive, that's promoting the stability of the region. So that would be a unique law that would be in place for that city. So that a 12-hour workday is considered a full workday if you work in this industry. Like that kind of, those are the small things that you. Anyway, so welcome to the inside of world building, where we hash things out in real time, and you can always get your stuff incorporated. And sometimes we talk in circles. I'm really good at it.
Yeah.
I'm really good at circle talk.
Yeah.
It's the bald head. That doesn't work out so well because Jeff also has a bald head.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's because your ideas bounce off each other.
We reflect each other's ideas with our brain shining.
Like, your ears might be satellites, but your heads are definitely reflectors.
Well played. All right, got zingers today. Oh, I wish we did have zingers today.
Alrighty,
I
well,
haven't. Anyway, yeah.
Anyway.
Sorry,
before we get off topic,
not flying Kungen today.
Yep. well, let's see. So, are there any other major industries except mining, or have we covered all that?
Mining is kind of their big one. So, yeah. I mean, they have a lot of mountain ranges. Not that the other
And desert.
empires don't have a lot of mountain ranges, but
It is the largest
Really?
landmass, but they also have more mountains, more
More
rich
desert.
minerals, and more desert. Those are kind of the major
desert mountain.
features are desert and mountain. So it's not a very lush land to grow
They don't
in.
have the most forest, and they don't have the most plains or wastelands.
Yep. No,
They
it's
do
just
have the most mountains and desert.
it's like the mountains gone when the approbation or the breaking happened and everything kind of split apart and waters rushed in. They were, the mountain ranges. That's where like the humans and the goblins and the dwarves were all like in this, and the halflings, I believe,
Oh,
actually.
the dwarves actually weren't over here.
You're right. No, the dwarves got sunk. The dwarves sunk.
No, the dwarves are on Entropa.
Are they on Tropo?
Yeah.
I-
And Waldezan was built on.
I thought we had the Fallen Empire, the one that was um, destroyed and never actually rose to power because they had access to Durzan and all of its stuff. That's where Durzan was. It was they were excavating it, and that's where they found a lot of the lost technologies and were progressing too hard.
Percentage is percentage wise or percentage wise or
Yeah,
total wise.
we had the whole
mountains and deserts.
when we were talking about the secret societies. There was the empire that fell because they had access to Durzan's technology, and they decided it was too dangerous to have. And so you had the Shadows Guild, the Knights of the End of Days, all working to end its existence.
I'll have to make a few minor changes on the map.
Yep.
When we do the final.
The map has predates a lot of the progression
Story.
Yeah, the story progression. So we're gonna have to make some moves there. So yeah, when we get the map Photoshop pretty, we'll be able to post it up. Right now, we can even keep this and we can show you guys how it started. That'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, milestone stuff.
But yeah, considering we have mostly desert and mountains in the Podelean Empire, it makes sense that mining and then entertainment, specifically the equivalent to Olympics, is held on this continent.
Yep. So, Ian, the answer to that question would be total.
Oh, what was the question?
So percentage-wise or total, the mountains and desert, do they have the largest percentage of mountain? Like, is more percent of the continent mountain than any of the others? Like, is 50% of it mountains and other continents are a smaller percentage? Is what you're asking, right? So, okay, so it would be total. So if you measured all of the mountains on this continent, there's more of them than there are on the other continents. I think there's enough on this continent that there's more mountains than any. Yeah, I think total mountains, there's more on Alakaya than there are on Antropa and Nagand together.
And
there are no
mountains on Wabi.
Or Wabi.
Wabi.
Yeah, there's 2 continents that don't even have mountains.
Interesting.
Christ's sake.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, that's like the landscape, and so their empires are going to adjust and alter based on. It also makes sense why they'd have so many tunnels, and why they'd have covered runs, because not only is our weather ridiculous in Savarion, you're talking about mountain weather, which when you live in the Rockies, you get mountain weather.
Just a little wild.
Always changing. You get 4 seasons in a day.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if so right now we're calling them the Podelean Empire, but I don't know if we're sticking with Empire with all of them. So they're all called the Empire. I don't know, because in the Podelean
Structure.
Empire, there's 14 elected officials that rule the nation, and they're voted in every 10 years. And they're specifically like, because they're the city of the wise, and so wisdom is a big deal. They would have been started by humans and Muscopert, or Samgatsu. Humans and Samgatsu would have been the start point for the Podelean Empire, which means that the importance of what everybody knows is going to be relevant. And so this is going to be more of a system where the people have a voice. So the Podelean Empire, the people have a bigger voice than they do anywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know that empire is quite the right term. That's just what we're currently calling it. But when we flesh that out completely, it might not end up being an empire.
Yep, but it'll still be Podelean. It'll just be the Podelean something.
So, and it might just be that every nation
empires.
is called an empire. We might keep that.
Because when they effectively control the entire landmass that they exist upon.
So we're still just United States of Podelean.
No. Denied. It's a good request.
The Gulf of Podelean. So yeah. Okay. So it looks like we're getting close on time.
Yeah.
And then we can. So Thursday we'll talk about
individual
video
cities.
talking about the cities.
And we'll give a population total later. I think I'll put it in the description when we actually suss out the total population size and what you can expect there. Because, yeah, we have to break down the individual cities and the size of those cities before we actually give you the total population. Plus, that's just the major cities, not even the small settlements that pop up in between here and there.
Right. So what we have on the map right now is like, well, we'll cover the big ones, but they're the major cities, right? And so there's going to be small cities. So it would be like if we were doing a map of the United States and we put Denver on the map and Salt Lake on the map and Vegas on the map and Sacramento on the map. Like, that's what we're doing. Like, obviously, like,
Cities
Colorado
of a certain
Springs is a
population
city and
size,
Boulder
yeah.
is a city and, you know, there's all kinds of cities elsewhere, but, you know, you go all the way through Kansas and we'll have Kansas City. And then it's like that's what the map is dictating right now. We don't have anything smaller than
And I mean,
that.
if it's South Carolina, you can have Columbia as kind of the,
Right.
Yeah, the major hub.
Yeah. So just so you know what you're looking at, and we did that for two reasons. One, the continent is big enough that it's like it's about the size of the United States. So to put every single city in would be like crazy.
Uncanny.
Yeah. It also allows you, if you play the role-playing game, to build in sections like, okay, so here's Unalesca. It's a really pretty, you know, town and stuff like this, and the Carinos is up over here. I live in a city over here, and I'm going to call it, you know, whatever you want to call it. And you can do that, and you can have your campaign start there and be out of there and do all that kind of stuff. So it leaves a lot of freedom for you to exist in the world without us dictating everything.
And populate it and prepare it. And, yeah.
So
because that's what again, when we started this idea and had the role-playing game being built, we wanted to give you the freedom to build whatever in the world that we created for you.
Yes.
And that facilitates. All right. Any other major questions that you want to throw our way? Any more shenanigans you want to hit us with? Some hard questions here.
I do like difficult questions.
You won't ask it.
I mean, do I want to ask it?
Yes.
'Cause, like...
We got 2 minutes. Ask your question.
Let's see. I forgot my question.
Did you?
Yeah.
I think she's being kind. She's being kind to us with not asking us the hard question with less than.
I'm keeping down the chaos. It's order time.
Because the deeper part of order is chaos.
Well, okay then. I guess
We can call it there. Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Let's see.
I think we covered most everything. The landscape, the layout. Like I said, we didn't get the population yet. We talked
which
about.
we're not going to do.
Yeah. We have
Even even on Thursday.
That'll be a while before we'll get population
layout,
values.
trade. Yeah, I think it's all I wanted to ask about. Let's see.
All right, and with that, come back on Thursday. We'll
give
posting the
you-
video on Thursday, and then we will be live again next Tuesday
CHA.
at 1 o'clock Mountain Standard Time.
Yeah.
Like, comment, subscribe, hit us up, help us out, get us out there, get us more exposure. Plus,
Oh boy.
keep your eyes peeled for our next little
Yep.
Oh my goodness, brain project. I was looking for it. The next project we have coming out.
Oh, yeah.
After the board game, we have another one.
We do.
Can't stop building. Never stop building.
All right, guys.
We
Bye.
build.
Bye.